Hey, I'm Marshall Seese. This is my funding video, and here's my story.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be an architect. A race car driver. A musician.
I'm just gonna let time choose what I want to be, I guess.
A scientist.
I want to be a professional video gamer.
Through all my years, I still don't know.
Taller.
I'm Marshall Seese Jr., and I perform under the name The Tin Man. Ever since I first started writing music, I've really just wanted to be a performing professional singer-songwriter. The first time I remember having any kind of pull towards music, it was at the tail end of my piano lesson, so I must have been 12. I never considered it just as probably because of a product of the world that I was in. I didn't know anybody who was pursuing a creative lifestyle as a profession. It was just never talked about. It was never an option. I grew up as this kid who was had to make straight A's, and I was always very obedient and was taught that failure's not good. It's all about succeeding.
Me and Marshall have been friends for quite a long time. I think that he kind of grew up feeling he had to conform to a certain background, a certain way of life, because he had his whole life and career set up with being a lawyer, and he had a really awesome job or several awesome jobs, and it's just interesting because most people would just be happy. I didn't question a lot of things. I just kind of took authority for what it was, and I believed them. School wasn't about learning. School was about making A's so that I could be at the top and have opportunities. It wasn't until law school that I started to really challenge who I was.
When I met him, he was legal counsel for the North Highland Group. He was just as passionate about his music then as he is now. It was always inspiring.
Then I started living this double life of lawyer by day, wannabe rock star by night. But it got to a point to where I had built this life that I was supposed to have. I had this amazing, well-paying job that other people at my level in law would have killed for. It made it really, really difficult to tell people that I was unhappy because they looked at it from the outside and they said, "Why the fuck are you unhappy?" I knew I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. There was just a major, massive disconnect, and I can't live life like that. Following your dreams is a tricky thing because on one hand, I think it's what we're meant to do in life, but sometimes you might mistaken what your dream is really supposed to be, if that makes any sense. So instead of focusing on songwriting, I went and focused on this business idea I had in the video game space. When I started Mowgli, I made a commitment to it, and I purposely put music on the back shelf. 4 years later into that, still wasn't happy. It still wasn't the core. I realized I'd done the same thing. I had corporified myself again.
I think Marshall could just see himself, I'm being a lawyer, and I can see, all right, here's the next step. With music, who knows where you're gonna be? But it's that what ifs that are, that's what we're living for. That's the stuff you remember.
I learned an invaluable lesson from Mowgli. I learned that if you really want to be successful at something, you have to make it your primary focus. At the end of the day, you have to make a choice. You can only do one thing. If you want to be great, if you want to really make it in something, you can only do one thing.
They called and said that he had a gig out at this restaurant, and I knew what gigs were from television, but I really didn't understand what was happening.
5-6 years ago, we went and saw him in a pizza place playing, and he was good or decent, and it wasn't bad, but he definitely was not the same Marshall that I saw, this year. And I took my wife back, and she was blown away too.
I will love you like I'm already gone. Sweet memories. I will love you like it's already over. Nothing to lose, nothing to lose.
The Marshall now is the guy that when I see him performing, his face is red and his veins are sticking out on his neck, and he's kind of really intense.
Well, I think that his story is similar to most of our stories. We're trying to evolve and grow and be better in life today than we were yesterday.
So I knew that I was going to have to make financial sacrifices because I knew that I was going to have to stop doing what was paying me money to focus on what I wanted to do.
I don't think that most people can imagine what that'd be like just to walk away from everything when you've worked your whole life to get there, but realize what you have to do.
I'd started writing some songs that I felt were very Tin Man-like. I was giddy with excitement about connecting with music and performing music in a way that felt real and like this direct path to my soul. I went straight to Billy Hume and I said, let's record this stuff. And he said, no, you don't know what they are yet. You need to let them breathe. You need to let them live. You need to let them become what they are. You need to play with musicians who can help you figure out what they are. That was a year ago. And only now do I feel like we have 5 or 6 songs that have lived and breathed enough and have enough life in them to where we know what they need. I wasn't ready before. This is the first time I've been ready. It just so happens I don't have any money now.
Marshall's new record is the first time that I feel like it's genuinely him putting out the music that he's been really striving to make.
I've never been more excited to record music in my life.
I actually feel like I'm part of it, even if I'm not able to physically be part of it.
He's creating content that is really soulful and just has life in it. If you're not such a big fan or it doesn't resonate with you that he's taking this big gamble and going this way, well, then there's also some great music over here for people that just love good music.
Even if we can't have that ability to let go and pursue our dreams, this is a great way to be a part of somebody who's a shooting star, somebody who's going to just skyrocket.
I think that he deserves it. I think that he's worked hard. He's put himself in the position that he wants to be in.
The Tin Man is on a quest. There's a quote I found in the actual book. It's by the Tin Man. He's like talking to somebody. He says, brain, I'm paraphrasing here, but brains and a heart, I've had them both. You know, given the choice, I'd prefer the heart. I think I've lived a lot of my life with my brain, and I want to focus on living my life more with my heart.